Anna here with Kids in the Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make banana bread because we just happen to have 3 very ripe bananas. So when bananas tend to get like this, the dark and mushy and nobody really wants to eat them, they're really good for making smoothies or muffins or, like in our case, banana bread. So even if you can't make them, the banana bread or whatever you're making at the moment, you can freeze them, put them in the freezer, you can peel them, put them in a Ziploc bag, freeze them, and if you're making a smoothie, that gives an extra coldness to your smoothie because they are frozen. So I'm going to start off with making my wet batter, which is creaming my butter and sugar, eggs, milk, bananas all together. So I'm going to use a stand mixer today. You can also use a hand mixer, but for today, I'm just going to use this. So I have my paddle as my mixer, so I'm just going to slide this on, and I'm going to put my 1 stick of butter in. There that goes, and then my sugar, which is about 1 cup of sugar. Pour that in. Okay, let's get to the mixing. So I'm going to lock this up, and then I'm just going to turn it on in a low setting. And you really want to get the butter and the sugar mixed together, fully incorporated. Just so you really want the butter and the sugar to mix together. You want it to get light and fluffy. So just let that mix a little longer. You can turn up the speed. You can turn up the speed as it incorporates. So we're almost there. This is looking good. Yeah. Okay. So once my sugar and butter are mixed together, I'm going to add my eggs. So I've got 2 eggs, and you want to add them separately. So, yeah, here's an egg. But you want to add them into separate containers. So just so if you get any shells in there, it's a lot easier to pick them out than in the container than picking them out through your food. And nobody wants eggs in there, shells in there. Banana bread. So just crack that inside, and I did get a shell in there, which is good because now I can just pick that out. Look how easy that was. That would have been a nightmare trying to get it out of there. So I have my egg. I'll pour it in there, and then I'm just going to turn it on a low setting and get the egg fully incorporated. Got my towel. You always want to have a towel handy doing that. So it's on a low setting. It is mixing together very nicely. The eggs, really, they're mixing together with the sugar and the butter, which is good. That's what you want. So after that's mixed together, you want to move on to your next egg. There that goes. No shells this time. Pour that in like so. And then you turn it back on again. So now, again, low setting, get that all mixed together. You want the eggs and the sugar and the butter all to be mixed together, fully incorporated, before you add the milk. So, yeah. All right, so that's looking good. So now I'm going to add my milk. I have about a tablespoon of milk. And this is just going to add a little bit more wetness to your batter so it's not all dry and hard with the banana bread. But, yeah. That mixed together. Move this out of the way. And bring the bananas. So that's looking good. I think we're done with that. So now let's move on to the bananas. I have my trash bucket right here for the banana peels. So, yeah, okay. Pop that right off. I mean, they really are ripe. They smell delicious, but, ripe. But yeah, we even have a banana in the freezer, I think. this. So, but yeah, they freeze really well. They're really good. Since they're riper, they bring out the more, they have a stronger aroma, which I personally really like. I like the way bananas smell. So we get them all peeled. I mean, I even wore my banana shirt today. Oopsies. Oops. Well, lost a little bit of banana. Oh well. That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to pop this up and I'm just going to mix the bananas together. Yeah. I mean, you can really start to smell the bananas. So after this, we're going to move on to our dry ingredients. Once this is all incorporated, watch my hands a little bit more. Banana bread is really a very good appetizing breakfast snack, good with butter. But yeah, okay, so I think that's pretty good. Okay, sweet. So that's all mixed up together, and now I'm going to be moving on to my dry ingredients. So my dry ingredients, I have just about 5 basic ingredients. So I've got 2 cups of flour, show that there. So 2 cups of flour right in there. Ooh, that's heavy. And then I've got about a teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, which really, I like cinnamon. We have baking soda, which will give it some lift, and then baking powder, which will also help with the lift of your bread, because when you put it into your pan, it'll stay, like, it's flat. It's not as high as you really want it. And when you add the baking soda and the baking powder, it makes it rise, which is good. And then I also added about a teaspoon of salt. So now I'm just going to mix this up together. You can use a whisk or a fork with this. Today, oops, I'm losing flour. Today I used fork. I just personally like forks better. So really getting this right. My gosh, I'm making a mess. I got these dry ingredients. You really want them to be incorporated. That's why you do all the dry ingredients together, so they get fully incorporated, like so. So bring these down. So you can still see, when you move around the flour a little bit, you can still see some of the other ingredients kind of sticking together, mainly the cinnamon because it's not white. So once that's fully incorporated, I'm going to go and I'm going to add this to my other mixture, my wet ingredients. So with my wet ingredients, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to pour this kind of in there. Let's figure out a good way to do this. Okay. So I'm going to use my fork just to kind of guide it so you don't kind of have flour going in all shapes and directions. And you don't want flour spilling off the side. I guess this might work out better. So just slowly, I mean, you can see I'm kind of getting the flour on the sides. I don't know if I've spilled any over there, but most likely. Okay, so just pour that in there. Yeah, see, I did make a little bit of mess up there. But you know, cooking is messy. Flour is messy. It gets everywhere. So I'm going to pop this up, and then a little trick that I want to show you so that your flour does not go when you're mixing this is to take a towel, and you want to just pour it. You want to place it right over your stand mixer. And you want to hold it like tightly, but you don't want to have it in here, because if you have it in here and the paddle grabs a hold of it, it'll suck it into your food, and then you have towel food, and nobody wants that. So if you want to just hold it on there for a little, like a few seconds, turn this on. So you want to get the flour incorporated with your wet mixture just so it doesn't spray everywhere. Turn it up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so good. Our flour has mixed with our wet ingredients. Now you don't want this to go too long. I mean, it's really looking pretty good actually, because if you go too long, then you just keep beating and beating and beating and beating your mixture, it'll turn your banana bread tough, and you don't want tough banana bread. Okay, so that really is looking good. I mean, we can pour it down a little bit and give it a little bit more time to get all the flour, on the sides off here. I can put this down, make it a little easier on myself. But I mean, it's really smelling good. Really, this is mixing very well. Oops. Okay, pop this back up, give it a couple more seconds just to get all the flour and everything like that. And alrighty, I think that's good. Okay, so now let's move on to pans. So I'm going to use a silicone pan, which is really like floozy and really good for baking. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can just use a standard metal pan, and which is good for browning because it retains the heat with it. But the silicone pan is really good for non-sticking. So I'm going to have a sheet tray underneath it just to keep it level and flat, because in the oven you've got the rack and it's not flat and even. So just have that so you don't have creases in the bottom. So I'm going to take a little slab of butter, and I'm just for like an extra security, I'm just going to rub it around and get all the edges off in my on my pan. You want to get all the edges, all the sides, and this is just, yeah, like what I said, an extra security so you don't have a chunk of banana bread missing. So get it all up in here on the sides, because I mean, silicone is really good for non-sticking. It's what it's really known for with baking. That's why I prefer using silicone with baking than the metal, but this is just so you don't have the really bad. Okay, so now we have that. Wipe off my hands, and like I said, you always want to have a towel handy so you're not running back and forth between the sink and all that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna unlatch this. Bada bing, bada boom. And so I'm just scraping off my batter from my paddle so I can get all the batter into my bread. Now you want to take your spatula and just kind of help the banana bread batter into your pan. So you want to kind of get it even. So you're, here, can you see this over here? So yeah, you want to get it even. So you have a nice even banana bread. It's going to cook evenly, bake evenly. So I want to get all the banana bread in there. I don't want to have any leftovers because I want a lot of banana bread. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of getting all of it in there. Just a little bit more. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of even this out so I have even amount of banana bread. But yeah, but like I said, you can see how low it is with the pan. I mean, I've got about like another inch or so with it, and with the baking powder and the baking soda, it'll help it rise so it's up to the top of this. So I think we're good. So I'm just going to put this, now I'm going to put this in a preheated 325 degree oven for about an hour or so, and then when that's done, I'll come back, I'll check it with a toothpick. If everything comes out dry, it's good. So yeah, I'm gonna go put this in the oven. Hi everybody, so we're back. So this was in the oven for about an hour. So we just pulled it out, and I wanted to show you guys how to test to make sure that it's done. So you want to take a toothpick, and you just want to insert it right in the middle, or as close as you can get to the middle of the banana bread. So when it comes out clean and dry, and there's no wet mixture, like there's no wet batter left in the banana bread, that's when you know it's done. So this banana bread is done. So when you're bringing it over, when you're going to let it cool, you want to let it rest for a couple minutes, and then you want to bring it over to a wire rack. I mean, yeah, just a wire rack, it'll help it air out and cool down. So when you do that, this is still a little hot, actually, I can grab that now. And you just want to come it over here and flip it right over. And there we go. And you can see there's no, like, the banana bread is completely covered. Like, if you look in here, there's no banana bread in the corners, which is good, which is what we use the butter for and the silicone pan for. So we'll just let this cool for a little bit, make sure it's completely cool before you cut it, because you don't want it to fall over and or crumble up and fall apart. So we just did like a normal basic banana bread, but there you can add walnuts, you can add chocolate chips, you can add whatever you feel you want in your banana bread. And if you do that, then make sure to comment below, share us your pictures. We really want to see what you did differently with your banana bread. So yeah, like I said, comment below on what you did, what you liked, what you would do differently, everything like that. Make this community grow. So until next time, see you guys soon. Bye.